Hello wonderful people. Okay, welcome back. This next video is Warhammer Imperium issue 48. It's the final bits of the ruins that we're going to be getting. So let's crack her open. Put the plastic aside. Get rid of that. Right, so let's have a look at the magazine. Dark Angels chapter, Secrets of the Apothecarian and Adeptus Sororitas, Acts of Faith. So, Adeptus Sororitas for our factions, Black Section A, Forces 01, Mission Roster, so Mission Name Generator. So your prefix can either be Blessed, Catherine's, the Pristine, the Golden, Oriflame or Electias, and then your suffix is Saviours, Grace, Souls, Protectors, Host, Conclave. Okay. You then get a mission roster where you can name your units. Do we name the Penitent Engine Bob? Anyway, Dark Angels. My Legion, the First Legion, the Unforgiven, the Sons of the Lion, the First Legion. Little information on the Fallen there, and then the two main non-codex compliant companies within the Dark Angels, which are Raven Wing and Deathwing. We then have the Space Marines Apothecarian for your Red Forces C, talking about their equipment, etc. Then we have Red Section A for Sororitas, the Imperial Creed, and talking about the Imperial Cult, which is the worship of the God Emperor, the Adeptus Sororitas and the Adeptus Ministorum. Right, so we're now going to get information about the Penitent and talking about people that pilot the Penitent engines. Mortifiers, I believe, are the other type of Penitent engine that you can get. You can obviously get the Archoflagellants, and then you get the Sisters Repentia as well. So Sisters Repentia, Archoflagellants, Penitent engines and Mortifiers. We're now on to how to build for the ruins. Nothing exciting. How to paint. They're still going with a red and white main colour scheme. And yeah, so there you go. What I'm going to do is I will show you how you can do a little bit of weathering on the ruin by adding in bits of sand and some bits of static grass, and just painting some weathering effects around the base of the ruin. So Adeptus Sororitas rules Acts of Faith. So these will talk about your miracle dice and how you use them. Performing Acts of Faith in the tutorial here. We have a Mission Initiate 09. An arch manipulator of time itself, the Chronomancer seeks to use its mastery of techno-sorcery to infiltrate the Imperium's defensive positions and sabotage targets of opportunity. With the aid of its lesser Necron kin, the Cryptek seeks to sabotage the city's plasma networks, sowing enough destruction and bloodshed to summon the dreaded Flayed Ones into reality. The Canoness and her battle sisters must prevent the Chronomancer from achieving its goals. Be quiet. Necrons, Chronomancer. Wholesale slaughter. If the Chronomancer's plans come to fruition and its forces are able to sabotage the plasma array, the resultant explosion will certainly kill dozens, if not hundreds. Bloodshed on this scale should be enough to coax the Flayed Ones from their extra-dimensional realm and unleash them upon Imperial defenders. Adeptus Sororitas, Canoness, defending the faithful. The Canoness and her sisters have tracked the Chronomancer's movements and confronted the Cryptek's forces in the vicinity of the plasma array. The sisters must secure the area and prevent the Necrons from sabotaging the facility and causing more deaths amongst the dwindling human populace. So we're using one large grey battle mat with the 2 sector ruins and the pipe set. The mission briefing: the plasma array lies at the centre of the battlefield. Both forces seek to drive back their opponents and secure this objective. Forces in play: Necrons, Chronomancer, Royal Warden, 3 Warriors, 3 Flayed Ones, Adeptus Sororitas, Canoness, 3 Battle Sisters, 2 Seraphim, 1 Archoflagellant, 1 Sister Repentia. There you go. And yep, in our next issue we get the middle sprue for our Sisters battle contingent, and in issue 50 we get the Royal Court, which gives us our Canoptic Reanimator, the Plasmancer, the Scorpec Lord, and our 2 Murder Buckets. Sorry, Crypto Thralls. Let's have a look. I mean, let's be honest, you've all seen the plastic quite a few times now. It's a 2019 sculpt, I think I said it was. Yeah, 2019 sculpt. It's okay, you know, it's better than a kick in the teeth, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, it's fine for what it is. I don't mind it. It's okay. I'm not gonna get too excited by it, but hey, there you go. Anywho, that's it. I mean, this one is obviously a little bit more buckled around the door and stuff like that, but what I'll do is, using the ones that I've already painted, we'll just go over a few things that you can do to add a bit of weathering into it, and we'll take it from there. Hey, right, let's have a quick look at what we can do for a little bit of weathering. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we've got our ruin that we've done the detail painting on, and the first thing I'm going to do is the splash line that you get. If you look at buildings, especially on, say for example, white buildings, when it rains, especially when it rains heavily, you'll often get a splash which will kick up dirt and stuff, and you'll get that around the base of buildings. So if you were to go out and just take a look, you would see it. You'll see it around the base of, you know, containers if they've been in situ for a long time. You'll see it around the base of buildings. You'll see it around the base of porta cabins. You know, again, if they've been in situ for a while, it's just one of those things that happens. You get the splashback with the rain. When you do this, I recommend using a contrast colour. So I've got grey here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Carrick Stone to add in the detail. And what I'm going to do is, rather than dry brush, I'm actually just going to stipple. So I'm going to stipple along the base, and as you can see, it's going to build up like so. So that's kind of like the first thing that you can do to add in some weathering detail to your scenery pieces. When you do this, don't forget that if you've got ruins, you know, that are open, don't forget to stipple in towards underneath any overhang, you know, because obviously the rain, when it comes down, is going to potentially sleet into an angle, so you're going to have some of the weathering effect just on the insides, and I've also just lightly done it around the top here because it's an exposed position. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add in some gravel and then some sand. Now I prefer to do my gravel, I prefer to super glue my gravel down. So I'll put plenty in and just add in some largest chunks. And this will just break up, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in sand, and this will just help break up that sand texture. And so there's no real hard and fast way to do this. You know, I just add in bits, and all being well, you know, they'll just happily sit there, and you know, when you come to paint them, they'll be stuck fast. So I'm going to let that dry, and then I'll come back in and we'll put some PVA glue down and some sand. Super glue's dried, me stone bits, rubble are all done. So what I'm going to do is, this is just bog standard PVA, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this, the brush I'm using is just an old makeup lip brush. I find this gives me great control. So what I'm going to do is just literally along the edge here, because this is mostly where you'll find dirt and dust gathers. I'm going to pop in the PVA glue. In some places I'm just going to let it come alongside. Now as you can see, we've got a grid pattern here, and these larger grids, squares, are raised. So what you'll also find is that dust and dirt will accumulate in potentially in corners on these. So you can just randomly chuck in some dirt or chuck on some PVA glue, you know, on these sections. And once this is dried, I am going to paint it. I prefer to paint all my dirt, rubble, etc. Simply because I feel that it helps tie in with a lot of the other miniatures, the bases and stuff like that. I'm not a big fan of just leaving unpainted dirt and rubble on a board. So let's put one there. And what you can do as well is you've got things like the top of this. So I've just put some PVA on top of there. put some PVA perhaps there, a little bit of PVA on top of the cog mechanicus just there. And then what I'm going to do is, I've got an old takeaway container here with sand in, and all I'm going to do is just literally this. And then you can see the sand I'm just literally pressing this into the sand to make sure that I've got good coverage. And then just tip that back in there. Give it a tap to get rid of as much of the loose stuff as possible. And then, as you can see, we've got sand build up, dirt build up, etc. on our ruin. If you want to come back in and just add in a little bit more, so say for example, maybe it comes down a little bit more in certain areas, just do that. And there you go. So I'm going to wait for that to dry, and once it's dry I'm going to paint over it and I'll show you what I do. Okay, so I've let the sand dry, and what I'm going to come in now and do is I'm going to paint the sand in the same way that I paint my bases, in that it's going to get a Mournfang brown base coat. And although I'm trying to be careful, I'm not going to worry too much if I get this overspilled, because we're obviously going to come in the same way that I do my bases, with a Xandri dust and then Wraithbone to just get the highlights on. Now I've watered down this paint quite a bit, and I'll probably do 2 or 3 coats, letting it dry thoroughly in between, so that it's nicely sealed in, and when you're gaming over it, hopefully it's not going to get chipped away or worn away as easily. So I'll finish painting these and then we'll come back. Okay, paint's dry. Let's come in with some Xandri dust. So I do my bases with Xandri dust. As one of the dry brushing layers over the top. So I will make sure that any things that I pop onto things like scenery pieces will follow the same recipe of Mournfang brown, Xandri dust, and then Wraithbone over the top. So Wraithbone next. So just need to do a little bit more there. And Wraithbone. Okay, so there you go, that's that. And then what I'm going to do is come in with some static grass. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the static grass in half. And then use it, say, for example, just there, because we've got some dirt and we've got a piece there which I'll stick into that corner. Another small piece which I will use to just go on the front. Maybe not, I don't think. No, that's folded up on itself, unfortunately. So let's just pop this bit in there. And let's try again. So, thin slither is just going to go on there, like thus. Okay, and then I should just probably pop that bit in there, and there is how I will do that sort of thing. And the final thing that I may do is using things like Nuln Oil or Agrax Earthshade. You can add in grimy streaks. So Agrax Earthshade, I am just going to get a medium sized brush, and what I'm going to do is, say for example, where I think something might run, a position where it might run from, just add in little streaks like so. Say for example you've got a leak from one of the pipes, just have it run down and then slight little pooling before it runs down further, and you know, just go round and pop some of those on anywhere you like on your model, on your scenery piece. Like so. Okay.